Good evening, folks. So, Keith Thurman is back. 36 years old. This is his first fight in 3 years. He came back into Australia this morning and he knocked out Brock Jarvis in 3 rounds in devastating fashion. I was always a big fan of Keith Thurman. You know, a decade ago, or around about a decade ago, this guy was being touted as the pound-for-pound king, you know, and a future Hall of Famer. And his career kind of went off the rails. You think he was a WBA, WBC welterweight champion. He had victories over Robert Guerrero, Sean Porter, Luis Collazo, Danny Garcia, and then he was stripped to the WBC title. In 2019, he suffered his first career loss, when he was beaten by Manny Pacquiao, split decision, lost his WBA title. That was in 2019, and then he kind of disappeared. And then he came back in 2022 and he beat Mario Barrios quite comfortably, and obviously Barrios is now the WBC welterweight champion. And yeah, everything just sort of went pear-shaped for him. You know, he's been very unlucky. That was in 2022. It's now 2025, and he's come back. He's just stopped Brock Jarvis in Australia in 3 rounds. Devastating, absolutely devastating fashion. Really, really decent work. And it makes you wonder what's left for Thurman. I mean, a lot of people have been calling him washed up. I mean, a year ago he was supposed to fight Tim Tszyu for the WBO light middleweight title. He injured his bicep, which has obviously, you know, kept him out of the ring again. Obviously, he was replaced by Sebastian Fundora, who then beat Tszyu nearly a year ago. Fundora is now the WBO light middleweight champion, and kind of Keith Thurman was kind of in no man's land. Nobody knew really what he was going to do. And yeah, first fight in 3 years. It looked pretty devastating, and got the win. There was talk of him potentially fighting Tim Tszyu next, but then I've seen conflicting reports this morning, kind of shitting on that idea. Maybe he won't be fighting Tim Tszyu. I like him, Keith Thurman. I just think he's been very, very unlucky. I don't, he didn't seem to have too much ring rust in there, but then again, who knows? You know, he looked absolutely devastating in this fight against Jarvis. Good win for him, good comeback win, good statement win. We'll have to see where he goes from here. Like I say, he's pushing. I don't think the inactivity is going to really benefit him. However, you know, he's not been bashed up or anything, obviously, because he's been very, very inactive the past sort of 6 years. So we'll have to see what happens from here. But yeah, it's good to see him back. I was always a big fan of Keith Thurman, and it was just a shame that, you know, his career's taken the turn it did, because he was riding a huge wave when he unified the WBA and WBC welterweight titles, and then obviously injuries and other personal problems kicked in. The loss to Pacquiao didn't help. I mean, there's no shame in losing to Pacquiao. The guy's a Hall of Famer. He's a legend. But that kind of set him back, and then obviously he was out, and then the Barrios fight, and then, you know, he hasn't fought since until today. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I for one, I'm pleased to see him back. I think he needs to get a move on in his career. Like I say, in November this year, he'll be 37. You know, so he's pushing 40. You know, he's on the hill. He's, you know, the only way is to go down now, age-wise. So we'll have to see. Hopefully, he can stay injury-free. He can stay healthy, and he can get his career on. Because I'd like to see him have another crack at a world title. Why not? You know, he's a very talented guy. It's just unfortunate the hands he's been dealt, you know, physically and politically in boxing. So yeah, I'm for one, I'm pleased to see him back. A lot of people aren't. A lot of people don't like him. Yeah, I don't like the arrogant. It sounds a bit weird. The talking in the third person thing that a lot of athletes have adopted over the years, like, you know, since The Rock in pro wrestling, you know, did it. You know, The Rock says this, The Rock says that, and a lot of, you know, Roy Jones used to do it, and you know, they talk about themselves in the third person, which I always find that just such a weird affectation, a very, very arrogant sort of thing. But whatever, you know, it is what it is. But I've always liked Thurman. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of people think he's washed up. People think he's shit. People think he wasn't as good as he thought he was. I just think I think he's great. Just very talented. Just very unfortunate what's happened to him. So maybe he'll fight Sue. Who the fuck knows? Maybe he'll get a crack at Fundora at some point. I mean, Fundora's fighting this weekend. You know, maybe he'll get a shot at Crawford. Who the fuck knows? You know, there are options there. But yeah, I think he needs to get a move on. I think he needs to fight more regularly. And I think he, you know, if he wants to make history and come back and get back in the world title picture, I think he needs to get on with it basically and stay injury free. So yeah, good devastating win for Thurman over Jarvis. Very, very good, very entertaining. So yeah, highlight reel knockdowns, and the left hook that finished it was pretty picture perfect when the referee just stepped in and said, "No, I've seen enough now." So yeah, we'll have to see what happens with Keith Thurman, but I'm pleased to see him back. I just hopefully he can keep on track and keep fighting regularly and stay injury free. That's all I've got to say. Right, take care, folks. Thanks for watching and listening. Hit the like and subscribe if you liked what you heard. As always, thank you very much for listening to me ramble on about this sport. Take care, folks, and I'll speak to you soon.